All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another live recording of the Managing Partners podcast. Again, my name is Kevin Daisy. I'm one of the hosts and also one of the founders of Array Law, where we specialize in helping law firms fill their pipeline. Today, I have a special guest, Charles Tolliver, out of DC, with the law offices of Charles Tolliver. So, Charles, thanks for joining me today.
Fantastic. Thanks again for having me here. My pleasure. I'm super excited about this episode today.
Yeah, excellent. Me too. And one of the reasons is because you're in tax law, and I hate taxes. So,
of course, it's a pretty common thing here.
But Charles is here today to make us feel a little more comfortable. Not too much, though, because then he wants to hire us and have us hire him as well. But he's going to answer the questions about that and tell us his background, his story, and what he does on a daily basis. So, Charles, without further ado, give us a little background on yourself, the journey to get to where you are, and then a little bit more about what you specialize in.
Fantastic. So again, my name is Charles Tolliver. I started my law firm, the law office of Charles Tolliver, to specialize specifically in tax law. But again, when I started law school, I certainly had one thing in mind: finished law school, found myself working for big corporate clients, loved everything about it, but it wasn't quite as fulfilling as I had hoped, right? So I had to recenter, remind myself why I went to law school, and then focus on an area where I felt like I could make the biggest impact. And I found tax law to represent just that, while also leveraging my experiences. And over the past, it's been a few months now that I've started the firm, just being able to work with individuals at various stages with various needs has just been, it's been fun, right? And it's been nice to just recenter, refocus, and really have an opportunity to help others in the process.
That's awesome. So, so you started your firm kind of recently, and kind of took that plunge, went out on your own, and give us a little bit of background about what was that like today, right, in this environment that we're in.
Interesting. I think it's very interesting. At times, I ask myself, what was I thinking? Right. Other times, I'm reminded of how rewarding this really is, right? But as far as just in this environment, being able to adjust, I think the critically important part of being a small business owner is really about how you adjust and adapt to the changing times. So be it COVID or any other unfortunate circumstances beyond my control, the goal really is to just focus on the things I can control, and always, stay grounded as much as possible. But as far as opening the firm now, it's been it's been very interesting but rewarding.
Yeah, good answer to that. I agree. You can't control everything. You can prepare for it, plan for it, and just push through it. So that's really all you can do. So you can't get yourself down about what's happening that you can't control.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. That's the guy I know, Mr. Kevin Clark. Good name. Good first name. I'm not sure about the last name there, but the first name's good. He said, wait, who's hiring who? I stumbled a little bit in the beginning there. And it could be that Charles is hiring us and we're hiring Charles. It could be a two-way street here.
Absolutely.
So don't count that out, Kevin Clark. And he's at, boom, thumbs up. Okay. So yeah, there you go. So we might need each other. So Charles, so you're new at this. You just started the firm not too long ago. What are you doing to get clients at the moment?
Fantastic question. I think what I do is I leverage my background, right? And what I've learned in my experience is that the best way to get clients really is through word of mouth, right? So you have word of mouth, you have networking, and then you have marketing. I think they all play together in a nice little playground here. But as far as how I go about word of mouth or marketing specifically, I find that really doing pro bono work is a great way to position myself, to brand myself, to connect with like-minded individuals. But the other benefit here is really, again, being in a position to help others out. So It's the marketing, it's the word of mouth, and the pro bono, right? Being able to position my firm, brand myself, and do good.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. When you're starting up any business, there's things you got to do that, you may not do later or might not be able to, but it's really, you got to do what you can to get in front of the right people, to build the referral sources. Obviously, other firms that may have cases or clients that they might not be able to work with, or they don't have the bandwidth for. So I think establishing those relationships, doing some, if you get to do the pro bono work, every startup is usually faced with having to, do what they need to do to get their name out there and to prove what they can do. So
absolutely, and I remind myself that everyone starts at the same point, day one, and it's what you do from there that makes all the difference.
So I knew you had mentioned pre-show that you had been at ADP. And so is there some relationships, things you built through that experience that maybe has helped you kind of get your feet on the ground?
Absolutely. It's a combination of my time at ADP, my time with Randstad staffing, really in a lot of unexpected ways, learning HR and the underlying tax implications of HR, from a compliance standpoint to being able to leverage some of those little known credits and the opportunities that business owners, again, may not be aware of. So my time with ADP and some of the more larger, Fortune 500 companies really helped me to understand, again, what are some of those opportunities that are available to smaller businesses that perhaps are not leveraging because they don't either know about it, they don't have the capacity, right? Or they just simply don't have a desire right now. So I think finding that right partner, someone like me who could really help you companies better understand what resources and opportunities are out there, could really help sort of redefine that small business landscape.
Yeah, and honestly, just speaking from my business, which we're small, we're a little over 20 full-time folks, but is how much you learn year after year about taxes and different things you can do, and honestly, and we have great CPAs. So if they're listening, we love you guys. But they're CPAs. They're not attorneys, and they're not looking at it every time from a business standpoint. And so we usually feed them ideas that we've learned from business owners and other businesses, and then we say, hey, can we do this? And then they look at it, and then we'll have like our financial planning company look at it, and we'll have our attorneys look at it, and everyone has their own little I'd like to see you guys do it this way.
Yep.
And there's all these different ways they want to slice it, and they all have a different perspective on it. And then we have to kind of conclude what we want to do. So it's good to have.
Right? I think that's ultimately, you hit onto something very critical here, right? It's not about having in my opinion, having a single person, right? But a team, right? The right partnerships in place to not just ensure you're compliant, right? But to identify ways where you may be able to do things differently to have a cost savings. So again, having that partnership, but leveraging my time with those companies, the Fortune 500 companies like ADP, really positioned me to dive deeper and ask that why, right? And link that to the company's goals, their objectives, and equally important, their challenges.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just good to have those advisors and get the different opinions. And yeah, some are trying to protect you risk-wise, some are protecting you from a compliance way, and the other one's like, how do we save you the most on taxes? And that's usually what the answer we're looking for is the tax part. Even though maybe it's riskier, I don't know, but that's usually what most small business owners are trying to figure out. How do I pay less taxes and still and grow the business?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So right now, again, I know you're fresh and a newer firm. What are some of the digital tactics you're using from website SEO, digital marketing, social media? What things are you're invested in, even if it's you personally doing it at this point?
Absolutely. Another fantastic question here. The important part to me for when it comes to social media is really ensuring that I'm branding my firm and myself appropriately, creating custom content targeted towards a specific audience, right? Because the tax law, like many other things, is very cyclical. So from January through, let's say, April or so, I'm going to focus primarily on individuals who are in the process of filing their taxes, right? So it's going to be sort of one element of marketing, right? Helping them understand what they can and cannot do in many respects. Whereas, let's say now, for example, this time is really focused on individuals and helping them understand their estimated quarterly tax filing requirements, right?
Fun stuff.
So it really does depend. So right now, I did partner early on with a social marketing firm to get everything set up. Admittedly, I haven't been as focused as I need to be. But again, I think that ultimately goes to some of the challenges of a small business owner. Not enough time, and you still have to do the work, find the clients, right? Run the business. There's so many behind the scenes administrative tasks that go into running the business. So, I'm super excited for the growth stage of things, although I'm still focusing just on building the business. Again, I always like to keep track of the long-term goals, right?
Excellent. Well, speaking of goals, that was my next question is really what's the future look like? Let's just say next year, what's your goals for next year? And then maybe if you have further out, so 2 to 5 years, what is kind of your vision for where you take the business?
I will say if I've learned anything in the past 2 years or in life in general, would be to have a plan, but be very fluid and flexible, right? So with that being said, it really is going to be, to a great degree at least, dictated by the market environment, right? What's going on at the time. While I have an idea as to where I want to go, namely perhaps wills, trusts, and estates, which is where my clients are, going to have the greatest needs, and I'm seeing some of the just requests coming for those with everything with COVID and the uncertainty surrounding that. Wills, trusts, and estates would be the logical, organic growth. But also may consider taking the Maryland bar exam, which, again, had you asked me this 10 years ago, I would have just laughed at you. But here I am thinking, is expanding to a new state possibly a worthwhile endeavor? And it might be. It really just depends on, again, where the data takes me and how I think the firm could perform, focusing on certain areas. So starting with tax law, perhaps expanding to wills, trusts, and estates. From there, maybe even bankruptcy or immigration. I love, one of the many reasons I love being the small law firm owner is because I have that flexibility, right? Being able to control where the firm goes, and also being able to bring in people who share that vision.
Yeah, 100%. So do you have, so I love that. So you have options, right? And you have different ways you can go. Is adding other attorneys and partners part of the plan, or is mainly to maybe add other attorneys, but not go from a partner standpoint?
I'm not fully sure yet, right? Weighing the pros and cons still, funny enough, it really comes down to the corporate structure and how the taxes will work.
Yeah, well, you'll know that. You know that best, I guess. So.
And so from there, that's actually what I'm evaluating now, determining who to bring in at what level and what that growth process should look like. But also balancing with, having to execute now, right? Again, being that small business owner, at times you have to decide at what point, when do you bring in that extra person, at what level, and what capacity? And, coming from that ADP and that HR background, I fully appreciate that first hire can really set the tone for the entire company, right? Moving forward.
The first hire is the most difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
Setting that tone, but it depends, right? I would love to perhaps partner with another another firm or a solo practitioner in Maryland, because I could see the potential to grow into Maryland or Virginia for that matter here as well. Yeah. But ultimately, really building the strong foundation before I get there. And I suspect that early next year, I'll be in a position to really more critically evaluate where to go next and at what level to bring someone in. But now I'm really just focusing on serving my clients' needs and better understanding what the market expectations will be.
Good. I think that's great. Kind of keep your eyes open, plan, and obviously serving your clients and producing a good result. So this is another comment from Kevin Clark. Just a little, I think it is referring to when we were talking about having kind of the the proper people, a team of people that you can count on. So he's just saying outsource management team for a particular and specific purpose is a great idea. With proper due diligence, you'll get a great team to help your business grow. Congrats, Mr. Tolliver. So
thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so what is really for people tuning in? What's the best way for them to connect with you, especially if they're within the DC area? What's the best ways them connect with you online, or is it best to just connect with you through your website, which I actually will post up right here? You can check out Charles Tax Law. I love the website address, by the way.
I was very happy that it was still available. So, yeah.
I thought that was really clever. It's just super short and sweet, and it has tax law in it, so good SEO domain. So
maybe
what other ways can people reach out and connect with you personally?
Perfect. So aside from the Charles Tax Law, they can also reach me on my business line at 202-600-7843. But once they connect with me on Charles Tax Law, I was going to have all of my social media platforms there that they can connect there as well. LinkedIn, Instagram, so on and so forth. So please connect with me. I'm really excited to connect with others here.
Yeah, I just sent you a LinkedIn connection myself personally, so please connect back.
Will do.
And check out his website. I put the website address in the comments, so everyone, if you're tuning in, you can click on that now or in the future and get to that. Kevin Clark again.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Kevin, for coming on and commenting and asking questions. Okay, so everyone, thanks so much for tuning in for another episode. Charles, thanks so much for sharing your story, and congrats on starting your new venture. So wish you all the luck with that. And Charles' episode will be available soon. You can check out more episodes like this at arraylaw.com/podcast. Everyone, if you're in need of marketing services, that's what we do. arraylaw.com. Check us out. We help fill your pipeline, and that's all we exist to do. We only work with law firms. And if you're also interested in being a guest on the podcast here, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can go to arraylaw.com/podcast, and we do have a form you can fill out to request to be on the podcast. So that's it. Charles, any last words before we go today?
Again, thanks for having me here. It was truly a pleasure connecting with you, Kevin.
Yeah, again, thanks for coming on. Thanks, Christine, on my team, who reached out to Charles to invite him on. And we'll see you guys later. So have a good day. Great afternoon, and we'll see you soon again here on the Managed Partners Podcast.